Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Madam Secretary, thank you for all of your work. I'm always impressed at your testimony. The dizzying array of topics that you have to be master of is, I know, both a blessing and a curse. So I am going to build on some of the questions that Senator Collins and I tend to double up on, and those are questions about fisheries, and in particular in Connecticut. As I've talked to you before, we're really the center of aquaculture research in the country with the Milford lab. And so I wanted to sort of present sort of a two-level question for you. One, to ask about the commitment in this budget moving forward generally to supporting aquaculture. As you know, 90% of the seafood that we consume in the United States today is imported, and so we certainly have an interest in growing a domestic aquaculture industry. But if you pace it out, estimates are that by 2030, 60% of the fish that are going to be consumed in the United States will be from aquaculture, and so we might as well be doing that here. So I wanted you to talk about, if you would, the broader commitment to aquaculture, and then specifically, as you know, in Milford, Connecticut, we have one of the two NOAA labs nationwide that support this kind of research. In Connecticut, we have 43 companies and 300 employees in this field that account for about $25 million in shellfish production alone, and that is growing. And so, from our perspective, aquaculture research is kind of, one of these triple wins in that you support a booming industry that's creating jobs, you grow our knowledge base about ocean health and ocean acidification that can have spillover effects on our efforts to combat warming oceans, and then you, of course, increase the presence, in our case, of shellfish, which improves water quality and habitats. So just wanted to pose those two questions for you. How can we support aquaculture writ large? And then just want to make sure that your department continues to have a commitment to robust funding for the Milford labs, and that there is a commitment to maintaining that lab in Milford, Connecticut.
Well, we're very much committed to the Milford lab and the great work that the people are doing there. We also are committed to our growing research in aquaculture. And in fact, in our budget, we asked for an additional $1.5 million to support that work, because we recognize how important it is. And we also know that it's strongly supported by the East Coast shellfish aquaculture industry. So we try to do work in a place where industry would support the research that we're doing. Both the facility and the work are extremely important, and we're committed to both.
And just for your edification, we're really starting to see some great public-private partnerships on that campus. It's a very small campus right on the Sound in Milford, but we've already had a lot of interest from private companies to come in and start to partner with our researchers there. And so really great commitment to public-private partnerships there. Just one last question on the general issue of coastal resiliency. So with NOAA's help funded through Sandy relief dollars, Connecticut stood up a Connecticut Center for Climate Resilience. And the idea here is to really help leverage state dollars, local dollars, and private dollars that are going into trying to protect our coastline from what will be the next major storm. Long Island Sound is the most urbanized estuary in the country, so we're particularly vulnerable. But setting that center up isn't enough. We're going to need help keeping it up and operational. And our idea is that for a little bit of money, you were able to leverage a lot smarter investment of federal, state, and local dollars. We got 169 towns in Connecticut. They don't often have the expertise locally to know how to best use dollars for resiliency purposes. But an ongoing commitment to a center of excellence like the one that we've developed in Connecticut, I think, is a great way to make sure that a small amount of federal dollars goes a long way towards the coastal resiliency that the department has been very committed to.
Thank you.